Jack, it's great to talk to you again. So pleased that you've got this second film going that we spoke about a little while ago. The start of the film is quite interesting. It starts off with a little bit of the background to Grimsby. You know, this former industrial city. Became a bit of an economic wasteland. You know, this kind of almost a downtrodden population, almost without hope. Is it true that Ethiopia did a benefit concert for Grimsby?
I am, I don't think my PR head can answer that truthfully, but very possibly. No, I mean Grimsby has had a rough time of it in in its kind of nationwide perception as a town and a place. You know, the word grim in its name, quite frankly, doesn't help its cause. But as you have now hopefully seen in the movie, it has so much more kind of life to it than you might think. Based on what's been kind of shot here before, and the film, which shall not be mentioned, that used our great town's name to disdain, and shows like Skin and just kind of poverty porn that's kind of been on TV mainly about the place. So yeah, I mean, it's a place that holds a big part of my heart. It's where all my dad's side of the family are from, and I'm a big Grimsby Town football club supporter, and spent a lot of my childhood up here. Almost every school holiday we'd come up here and have just amazing time up here with Nan and Granddad, and do everything that Grimsby and Cleethorpes has to offer. And yeah, it's always obviously I'm not from here, you can probably tell by the accent, but yeah, it's always kind of felt a bit like a second home, and somewhere that just needed some love on the big screen, because it's got so much to give, and I feel very lucky to be the person that has kind of got there first in terms of that.
So let's talk about your cast. When we spoke about Destination Dewsbury some while ago, you told me the story that when you were casting, you had settled on your cast and then you took them all out camping as a
Yeah,
bonding exercise.
yeah,
So I'm just wondering,
yeah.
your cast now, you didn't sail them all out to the North Sea, did you?
Funny story, actually. Funny story. I mean, I'll talk you through in rough linear order the casting process. We probably, it's similar to last time. I watch every tape that comes in. There's thousands for each role. I kind of really, I'm very thorough in my process. I don't use a casting director. I watch all of them. Not being given a short list. Someone else's opinion on what's right is naturally going to be different to mine because we're different humans, right? And I think it's just lazy. So. Yeah, I watched all the tapes, and then James Burrows, who played Curly, who's my lead in the film, he wanted to do the film, or was kind of suggesting that way. So I went up to his family home and met him, like the day after we first spoke. And that very same day in Derby, Grimsby happened to be playing Chesterfield, which isn't a million miles away from Derby. So I took him to Grimsby against Chesterfield. Just to show him what kind of, the passion that people from Grimsby have, for their kind of identity in their town. And yeah, so that's one bizarre story from, it's not quite camping, but we did, we did 2 weeks rehearsal. We all, kind of pretty much lived together, we were all working together. We all went to the local watering holes every night during said process. And, they had a similar sort of thing. I kind of, again, why I did that trip on Destination Dewsbury just it was almost a little bit like a chemistry test to make sure the kind of the kind of social hierarchy that exists within any group. You have the leader, and you have the the kind of one at the bottom, and those in the middle. I almost did a similar test with these guys in Grimsby, and I had that kind of intuition from talking to them all separately, kind of who would fit that where in that kind of hierarchy. And I just had to make sure that would sit true with the characters in the film and their relationships that happen in the script. So yeah, we never went camping. I did take a very brief trip to the North Sea. There's one shot in the film at the very start of the film. It's in the trailer as well, when they're looking through the porthole back at Grimsby from sea. None of the cast were involved, thank God. But we took a very small boat out to the sea. I say the sea, we were about 400 meters into the sea, if that. And we went on this little fishing boat that, that very day, I assumed from the stench and the fish guts everywhere, had indeed been out and caught a load of fish. And I was warned before stepping on said vessel that maritime weather is essentially done on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being perfect conditions, 10 being Bermuda Triangle. And it was a 9 that day. Lucky us, I thought. And, luckily it was just me, the DOP, and the assistant on this little boat. And, the only kit we had, because we only had to get that shot. The only kit we had was his tripod, his camera, and a couple of lenses. And we get on the boat and we're going through the port, where there's no waves and stuff. And all was going swimmingly well until we got out of the dock. And my God, it was like a roller coaster, is the only way I can describe it. And people, when they usually talk about these things, are making more of it than it was. I'm doing the complete opposite. Like, a roller coaster is a very kind way of describing the conditions on this little boat in this weather. And the DOP started being sick. So he was off camera. The assistant wasn't too far behind him. So I found myself, with 70 grams worth of camera and lenses on a 3-legged tripod that is, by this point, because the waves are going so mad, like the front leg of the 3 is like coming up in the air, and I'm like, oh God, it's going to go overboard. I'm sure we're not insured for losing camera equipment to the sea, because why would we? And so I found myself lying in the fetal position on the floor of this boat, holding onto the 3 tripod legs in a vague attempt to keep said camera kit within the vessel. So I returned probably a mere 8 minutes later to land, covered in fish guts, traumatized, two camera guys that were white as a ghost. And I don't think I'm ever going to see again.
And they say filming is not glamorous.
That's Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood. Nothing's changed since Destination Dewsbury, when we were eating Mars bars for lunch and pot noodles. And I think on Dewsbury we had like 16 people in a 3-bedroom house.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. No, it has not. We have our own hotel rooms now, and I get vegan food off there. So things have changed, but only in some respects. So, I'm still very grounded in others.
Well, that's good to hear. So I was trying to push you last time we spoke about, because you were talking about this film, and you said that you had a big name in this, and I was trying to push you and find out who it was. Now, my suggestion was that it was Brad Pitt. You've got the next best thing. You've got the fantastic Colm Meaney for this, and he's fantastic. You've got a superb back catalogue. I'm just wondering, though, with such experience and such an impressive back catalogue of films, and this being your second film and sort of, if you like, properly budgeted film, did you find it a bit intimidating working with him?
Not at all. Like, everyone famous or big or successful, they're all just human, right? They've all got flaws. They've all got insecurities. They're all, they're all people. I think we have this weird thing in society of kind of over glamorizing, successful people or influencers or famous, whatever it is. But they're all people. So I tell you, I was more intimidated meeting the Grimsby Town footballers than I ever have been anyone in my work life, because they are my personal life heroes, if you like. Not that these actors aren't, they're fantastic, but you know what I mean. So I never really get nervous, particularly if I'm working with someone, because I am so homework driven. Right, I do, like 5 or 6 months kind of between storyboarding and script analysis on each project, and and then we do 2 weeks rehearsal. So we know what we're doing. I think, especially being a young director, I'm only 26. I was 24, 25 when we shot this, and second movie, first proper budgeted one, and so I think, I've never been in a position where I have felt unprepared ever stepping into rehearsal or on a film set. I think if I had felt unprepared, not that I ever would, I would be bricking it. Yes. because people of that experience and that caliber, they have worked with a plethora of wonderful directors who will, hopefully all be, well prepared and know what they want. And, it's not just about knowing what you want. Like, someone like Colm, like all the actors really, like you don't have to give them that much direction, because they've all done their own work. They know what they're doing, they know how to break down the script and make decisions. And, a lot of their intuition is right. And, so you don't have to become a kind of dictator, and you're very much the leader of the orchestra, the conductor, and these guys all play the music. You're just kind of keeping them in time, and keeping them kind of on brand and kind of in your vision, if you like. But yeah, no, they were all great. Colm was great. He owes me 100 quid because Grimsby Town got promoted last year, so I will be sending the bailiffs around. I think he owes me another 100 quid if England win the World Cup as well. So yeah, he really might be in my pocket as such.
I think the World Cup is. I don't think he's going to anywhere. He's on that front. Miserable cynic that I am about it.
No.
What I was going to ask you, and this is kind of a little bit out of the ordinary, and I've seen the film a couple of times now. It's the very, very, very end, the end of the credits, and the film is in memory of Elva Mackins. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Elva Makins was a wonderful, wonderful woman. She was the mother of a good school friend and still friend of mine, Ruben. And Elva, so Ruben's mum, and Jack, Ruben's dad, both were the actors that, were kind enough to give me their time when I was a kid, learning my way in the film industry. And, we probably made 5, 6, 7 short films together, possibly more. And so Jack and Elva, without them guys, there is absolutely no way, I would be doing what I'm doing. And, they were extremely patient with me. They're at that point in my career, you're still learning how to communicate with actors, so, they really kind of, were just great. And these two wonderful human beings that I am forever in debt to. And unfortunately, Elva passed away, just before Christmas last year. And so, it felt very apt, to dedicate the film to her because, she was a wonderful woman, and, I will forever be in her debt. And, as well as being a wonderful actress and a wonderful mother, she was, just one hell of a lady. And, the kind of family motto that, I like to spread is be more Elva, because, she really was rather wondrous.
Well, on a more positive note, it's a lovely film. It's really nice. It's kind of lots of different tones in it, from being funny to a little bit melancholy in parts. But obviously, with this now under your belt, what's next?
Yeah, we are doing a Christmas movie next, which is it's a little bit like Nativity, but set in an old folks' home. So you can imagine again, it's comedy with an awful lot of heart, which has kind of been a kind of thread I'd probably suggest for my work, in terms of the kind of, what kind of films I like to make. And, it's super early, we're planning to shoot it next year. And, I'm, obviously we've got 3 Day coming out, but I'm 2 months into said prep, and homework for that one. Juggling lots of plates at the minute, working essentially multiple full-time jobs and not having too much of a social life. But I would not swap it for the world. I'm just very lucky to, be in a position where I can, someone is foolish enough to pay me to make movies.
I think your career is very much on the up, Jack. It really is. It's 2 lovely sort of films, and I do look forward to the next film. Thank you for your time, Jack.
Not at all, mate. Thank you very much.